Good morning everyone, I am back. Welcome to my channel. My name is Marlies, Marley Design, and what is laying on my table today? Last week I have uploaded a video about how to build your stash in just 1 hour. For the ones that have not seen that video yet, go check it out so you can understand also what is in front of me. I created a label with leftover papers, and I also created this piece on a scrap piece of paper, and I created this with a stencil and some spray. But of course it is nice to have a stash so you can create on the go, but what are you going to use and what are you going to do with your papers? In today's video I'm going to create something with these two. Let's find out what we can make. The first thing that I did is to cut out this pattern, so I will have a good overview on the size of it. Something that I really love to do to inspire myself and to get ideas on a project is to take a good look at my papers. This paper is quite neutral. I mean, it's just craft colored paper and some brown tones, the scorched timber. So this is not telling me a whole lot. But then when we take a look at the label, there is enough going on. I mean, I can see some blue tones, gray tones, black tones, a kind of salmon or blush pink. So this little piece of paper contains a lot of information and inspiration for your project today, because now we already have a color scheme. To get close to my color scheme, I searched in my materials, in my supplies, and I have found some sprays, scorched timber, chipped sapphire, this is the oxide one, and the oxide one, saltwater taffy. I also got out some paints, scorched timber, faded jeans, saltwater taffy, picket fence, and black soot. It does not mean I'm going to use everything. It might happen, but I, of course, do not know yet up front. But what I do know, that it is matching with my colors. I have put in front of me my surface media mat, the small one that goes on top of the glass media mat. Of course my paper. And what are we going to do for our first layer? I am going to add some basics acrylic gesso. The second color that I'm going to add is the Distress Paint Saltwater Taffy, but I think it is too bright to my liking for this project, so I will tone it down with the Distress Paint Picket Fence. The softened saltwater taffy is on. In reality, I think it is more visible to me. I don't know if the camera picks it up very well, but yeah, it's on there. Now I want to try the Distress Paint Scorched Timber. I will put it on my little craft sheet. I will go through the paint with a small brayer, and then I will use the paint to stamp. I will stamp with this stamp set from Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. It is called Shattered and the number is CMS 466. And this is the result. I think it is very, very beautiful. The thing that I did, I focused first on the outlines of this paper, just to see if I like the result, stamping with the paint, and I did like the result. That means then you have a little bit more courage to also go more towards the inside of the paper with your stamping. I noticed, of course, I have a little bit of paint left, and I could also add more if I want to. but it came to mind that I want to emphasize the sides by making them a little bit darker. So I will use the Scorched Timber paint again for all the edges. What I would like to do is give this paper a backing. I went into my paper stash and I found this paper. This paper is created with the Distress Ink Scorched Timber. I also made a video about that, I think 2 weeks ago. So if you want to check out how I worked with the new distress color, the Scorched Timber, I would advise you to check out that tutorial too. I will glue this paper on top of this paper. And then I will stitch along all sides. The backing and the paper are glued together and I have done my stitching. For now this is what we have, but I also want something on top to finish this little project. The stencil that I used on the paper is called Roses, so it is flowers. That made me decide to go with a more natural nature theme. I would like to cut out one of these birds. This is a die set from Holtz and Sizzix. The number is 665861. And behind the bird I would like to create a little arrangement of flowers. This die set is also from Sizzix and Holtz. And the number is 664164. What you also notice is that the paper that we already created is quite dark. And for something that goes on top you need contrast so it is visible. That made me decide to cut out my shapes out of white watercolor paper. I do not want my flowers to be totally white. I will put on some Distress Scorched Timber spray stain and splatter on top of the flowers. Also the bird will get a little treatment with the Distress Ink Saltwater Taffy. I will put the Distress Ink on top of my little craft sheet, wet it down, and I will try to pick up some of the ink drops on top of the bird. With the leftover ink, I will also splatter on top of the bird. I liked the flowers and my bird, but I want to create some kind of shadow, an outline behind the white flowers and the white Saltwater Taffy bird. That is also the reason why I have die cut the same shapes in black paper, and I will glue two pieces together in an offset way, and that will be looking like this. I just inked up this Holtz quote, also with Scorched Timber Distress ink, so everything will be matching. One other thing that I found for assembling everything together in just a moment is some natural material that I will glue underneath the quote, and yeah, maybe it will look a little bit like a bird's nest. I have everything ready to go, and the first thing that I will do, I will glue the quote on top of this natural material. I made a little arrangement for the flowers, but they are sticking out because I do not want to use them in total. So I'm going to cut the bottom off and I will glue them on the back side of the quote. And while I am looking at this little scenery, I am just missing something over here. I will fill that spot up with this die cut flower. It is the same that we used on the Wildflower, but now in a craft color. I'm not going to use it in total. I will cut out some parts that I like. Before I will glue them down, I will give them a light spritz with Distress Spray Scorched Timber to keep it in the same color scheme. I also changed my mind on the bird. Even though this is a lovely sight to see, I think when I hold it to my color scheme, I can do better. I have also cut out the bird in a craft colored paper, and I will glue it on top of the white. And while the splattering on the bird is drying, these two pieces of flowers are already dry, so I can glue them on top of the other flowers. My birdie could also use an eye, and I will use a white Sharpie paint pen to do so. I will let the white paint for his eye dry. In the meantime, I will glue my cluster down to our paper. I still do not like the bottom of the flowers, and I have found a solution for that. I will put little pieces of moss in between. Around the eye of the bird I will make a black line with a fine liner and maybe a little black dot in the middle. And last thing to do is to glue the bird down. And this is our project. Only thing that I forgot, well, to videotape, is that I added 2 more pieces of moss on the left side of the quote. And what I also would like to point out, we did not use the label. And that is totally fine, because when you are creating, sometimes, you know, you go into another direction. This wasn't really a thing that I could use anymore. But I am grateful because this gave me the idea for our color scheme. So even if we did not use it, it had a great purpose today. When I look back at how we started the video, I think it's amazing, because we only had a piece of craft colored paper with some spray stain through a stencil on top. And look at what you can create with just one basic paper. I would also like to address the next thing. A lot of times I get messages with the question what I am doing with these pieces that I make. You could easily turn this into like a label for in your journal. And when we are talking about journals, this could also be a very nice, like a flap on the top page of your journal, so you can open it up and close it again. You could use it in a journal and put it into a pocket. You could gift it to somebody, like a card that you would send, but you can also glue it into some kind of idea book. So when you have multiple of your projects and you have a large book, and you want to keep all your projects together and maybe add a note about the products that you have used, the colors that you have used, the stamps and the die sets. When you store it like that, you always have something to go back to. Now I hope that answered the question for a couple of you guys. That means this video is to an end. I hope you got some inspiration and new ideas out of this video. When you do, please like, subscribe or comment down below. I will also put all my other links, my social links and my coffee shop link in the description box below for you to check it out. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye!